What is romantasy? That is a question I have been asking myself for years. Hi, I'm Jess, and welcome to my channel, where I talk about bookish things. If that's something you enjoy, please consider subscribing. It's pretty popular over here on booktube to make rant reviews about popular romantasy books. That is how I first heard of the romantasy subgenre. But what makes a book a romantasy? Romantasy is a portmanteau of romance and fantasy. I've always imagined it being the perfect middle ground between romance and fantasy. But in my head, that combination just doesn't work. The main focus of fantasy is usually the plot. It's about the action and the adventure. The main focus of romance is the relationship between the main character and the love interest. I just can't imagine being able to find the perfect middle ground between the two genres that doesn't fall into one genre more than the other. That means I'm probably wrong about the definition of romantasy. So what exactly is romantasy, and where is the line between fantasy romance and romantasy and romantic fantasy? Before we continue, let's define some terms. Romantic fantasy is a subgenre of fantasy with a romance subplot, and fantasy romance is a subgenre of romance set in a fantasy world. In theory, romantasy should fall between the two, but in practice, both romantic fantasy and fantasy romance are marketed as romantasy. Because that's the thing. Romantasy is just a marketing term. Romantasy is super popular right now, and authors and publishers want to capitalize on its popularity. Keeping the term vague means that more books can be marketed as romantasy. Personally, I hate that the term doesn't have a strict definition. I find it isn't helpful that romantasy is used to cover books from romantic fantasy to fantasy romance. It makes it hard for me to guess if I'll like a book within the romantasy subgenre, because I prefer books with more plot and less romance. That means that I'm much more open to reading books that, prior to the popularity of romantasy, would have been classified as romantic fantasy. But thanks to the romantasy label, I won't know if the book I'm considering falls more in the fantasy camp or the romance camp. The romantasy label isn't all bad. I've heard so many women say that they got back into reading because of a romantasy book. Romantasy as a subgenre seems to be less intimidating to women than fantasy is, and I get why. Fantasy book spaces tend to be pretty misogynistic. There's a certain type of man who doesn't like it when women like things that are typically viewed as being for men, and act hostile towards women who try to join those spaces. Misogyny is a huge problem in a lot of nerd spaces, but the romance element of romantasy serves as a deterrent to those same men. So women can comfortably engage with romantasy books without fear of being asked to prove their nerd credentials or being mansplained to. Despite its popularity, or maybe because of it, romantasy still has its flaws. Some romantasy readers do not read critically. It's fine to want reading to be a relaxing hobby, something you can do without needing to fully engage your brain. But turning your brain off and just going with the vibes is really risky. Both the fantasy and romance genres have a patriarchy problem, and romantasy isn't immune to pro-patriarchy propaganda. When you do not engage critically with the media you consume, you are not aware of what messaging you might be unconsciously internalizing. Popular media is a useful tool to disseminate propaganda. Romantasy is particularly useful because it can be used to prop up the author's preferred systems of power on a societal level, and to prop up patriarchal relationship dynamics. Not all romantasy books have this problem, but many do. Sometimes it's because the author is unaware that they are inserting their own beliefs or preferences into the book, and other times it's because the author is trying to sway the opinions of the reader. So in conclusion, the romantasy label is a marketing tool used to sell books because it is popular and therefore good for SEO. The romantasy genre has been successful at encouraging more people to read, but romantasy books are also sometimes a tool used to promote patriarchy. I think that about covers it. We've got capitalism, we've got patriarchy, we've got more people interested in reading and hopefully improving their literacy level. I would also like to mention that romantasy can also be used to promote anti-patriarchy sentiment. Propaganda doesn't just go one way. Agreeing with a piece of propaganda doesn't mean it isn't propaganda. This video took a hard left turn into lecturing about propaganda. Sorry about that. I'm just really passionate about critically engaging with the media we consume. What are your thoughts on the romantasy genre? Do you have any recommendations for anti-patriarchy romantasy books? Let me know in the comments section down below. If you like the video, hit the like button. Thanks for watching and have a good rest of your day.